Hello everybody, thanks for joining to our special edition of The Tube. In this time of war in Gaza, we here are going to talk about all topics web-related to the battles in the front lines and on our digital screens. Let's do it. In peaceful times, Saluna is Israel's largest website that operates as a platform for women-oriented content, written by top journalists and bloggers and read by scores of female users. But these are not peaceful times. Now, instead of a daily mix of career, fashion, relationship, culture, and similar subjects fit for a women's magazine, Saluna presents a unique angle on the war in Gaza and in Israel, a feminine perspective that can't be found anywhere else. Whether it's a pregnant blogger writing about giving birth under fire, or expert advice on dealing with children's anxiety, Saluna now offers a wide variety of war-related stories and items, and has even established a shadow council of female army experts. Established in 2010, Saluna now has more than 1 million unique visitors a month, 85% of whom are women, and 10,000 registered bloggers. With me in the studio is Amy Aaron, one of the platform's founders and its publisher. Thank you very much for joining us. So for our viewers abroad that are not familiar with it, tell me a little bit about Saluna and why it has become one of Israel's most interesting content platforms.
Saluna is the leading women website in Israel, like you said. I think what makes it so interesting is the unique format that combines editorial content that is written, just like you said, by journalists and specialists, along with bloggers' content. And I think the synergy is very, very special because it enables the readers to have a very large range of opinions from people on the street, especially women, and specialists and journalists. So the mixture is very interesting, and it gives a lot of value to our readers.
And now, we are in times of a military operation. What's the approach you decided to take?
The approach is, of course, feminine. Women are dealing with things that they don't deal with on regular times. If they are wives or mothers of the soldiers, which is a very hard. It's a very hard time. A lot of anxiety, a lot of emotions to deal with, fear, anger. And if there are mothers or sisters or wives of soldiers, so first thing we deal with emotions, which is a thing media usually don't do, because media usually gives you the news. So we try to give stage to all women to express their emotions and fears. And secondly, we have our security socialist forums, and the idea is to let women be heard in a time of war where mostly men are seen on the TV screens.
Now, we're going to continue to talk about this soon. Before we go on, let's watch one of the videos published on Saluna in recent days. It's an expert from an upcoming project by animators Masha and Jonathan Tsul, animating kids' explanation regarding to the question, what is war?
צבא זה מין מקום קטן כזה עם הליקופטרים וצוללות וספינות שהם פשוט הורגים כל מיני צבאות אחרים. פעם אחת ירד פצצות בדרום הארץ והחיילים שלנו יש להם כיפת ברזל ובשהם יהיו טילים היא תצליח לזהות אותם ואז היא תשלח חץ גדול שיפוצץ את זה בשמיים. מפסיקים את המלחמה מתי שעושים הפסקת אש בלי לנצח. הסוואדח משחק עם הילדים שלו, יש לו זמן להיות לבד קצת, לדוח קצת, וכל מיני דברים שהוא לא עשה. למשל לשתות כוס קפה.
That's a lovely video. As you mentioned before, you have a feminine security forum of female experts. Why is that necessary?
It's always necessary to hear the females and the women's voice, especially in times of war, because the screens and the news screens are full with men, generals, army generals, and politicians and experts, and there's hardly any women around. So we think it's very important to have the voice of women, which is maybe
maybe less militant, maybe less aggressive.
Less militant, less aggressive, looking for a win-win situation, seeking to find
even though it's news, but only it's not about the facts and about what's going on, it's their opinion.
It's the opinion. Well, Salona is not a news platform, it's opinion platform. So the idea is to bring a large range of opinions. And I think if you look at the women's opinion, you will see that they are more peace pro and seeking for agreement and looking at the maybe human sides of war.
You know, there's this cliche regarding women that if they couldn't handle international conflict, it would be much better. Do you agree with that? Is there truth in that cliche?
I believe so. I think if we look at Angela Merkel or Hillary Clinton or Condoleezza Rice, three women that have been very high-position women that played major roles in solving conflicts around the world, and I think they did a very good job. And I believe that if we see more and more women in decision-making tables regarding security and global conflicts, I think it will be they will deal with it very differently than men do.
You know, Israel is now connected to the internet like junkies. I mean, everybody's online all the time wanting to hear more and more news. How do you cope with the constant stream of rumors and disinformation?
Because we're not a news platform, we don't pay attention to rumors. We publish only things that have been published and that are released by the IDF or the government, and it's mostly opinions. Today we wrote about the rumors, and we have this one blogger that wrote about that her brother was on the list of the people that got killed yesterday, and he's alive. And her family thought for like a day that he's gone.
We're going to talk about this exact story right after this interview.
Yeah, okay.
I find this story horrific, but that's
it's
the
horrible.
public, and you can't even control them. I mean, there's no one to blame specifically or punish.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what was the single most important item you published since the operation
I think
started?
it's the project that we called Times of the Mothers. We invited our bloggers, which are mostly mothers, to write about their feelings. And today they were invited to the parliament to speak their minds to the people in the Knesset and to be heard. And I think it's the most important, it's the bigger things we've accomplished because we've let the voice of mothers be heard in such time of conflicts that nobody wants to hear the people's voice. Everyone wants to hear news and only general and politicians. And I think it's very important to hear the voice of the people, especially women and mothers.
I just want to know if there's maybe a kind of peaceful-esque atmosphere there, because the web is so violent in the past 2 weeks. Can I find a bit of comfort in Salona?
Yes, I think you can find a little bit of comfort because we won't let any horrifying content into our platform, and we are the approach is how can we help? How can we help
Not
women
scare,
and
not
mothers?
traumatize,
How can we help? And I think it's a very unique approach for media, because usually media don't want to help you. They want the rating, and we truly want to help.
Thank you very much for coming and for wanting to help. Last week, before the latest escalation in Gaza, we talked about the unique Israeli phenomenon of WhatsApp rumors, a flood of false and true bits of information spread through groups of WhatsApp users. Yesterday, it went too far. Around 6 p.m. local time, Israeli media was allowed by military censors to tell the public about the 13 soldiers who died in battle in Gaza the night before. Most Israelis knew that already, courtesy of various WhatsApp rumors spread throughout the day. The information included the names of the dead soldiers and even a recording of a military briefing regarding this grave loss. What's even worse, parents of one of the dead soldiers got one of these WhatsApp messages hours before the official military announcement. At least in one case, parents have found out about their son's death in combat, only to hear later that their son is alive and just slightly injured. This has created a wave of public criticism against these rumors, especially in the established media. Yes, it's another sad aspect in the continuing battle between old and new media. In Gaza, the Israeli army has to face fighting inside a very crowded urban area. The army is well trained in dealing with these kinds of situations, but it's getting some real help from an Israeli startup. Now it's able to see through walls. Meet Camero. This amazing innovation can actually see through solid walls and roofs, giving soldiers an inside view of closed rooms, bunkers, basements, and other sealed areas. Although Camero's tech system does not give security forces the ability to see the faces of the people in a room, it's not a camera. It does display their position in real time at any specific moment on high-resolution 3D image map. Adding to its powerful qualities, a special breathe detection technology enables the device to differentiate between static objects such as furniture and moving objects generally assumed to be people. Here it is in action in a demonstration by Camero that, well, looks like an episode of 24. Save us, Jack Bauer. Wow, that's impressive and scary. Sorry, I don't like wars. And now, a computer lab staffed by students in an Israeli university is playing a key role in the war of information in the Gaza conflict. Students, volunteers at the IDC Herzliya, a private university north of Tel Aviv, are waging their own propaganda war, countering online anti-Israeli sentiment. Staffed by approximately 400 student volunteers, the project, which goes by the name Israel Under Fire, claims to have succeeded in closing anti-Israeli pages on Facebook and challenging propaganda from Hamas. The Prime Minister's office and the Minister of Foreign Affairs consider the university's effort so successful, they now seek to collaborate with IDC during subsequent military actions. Here are the students singing the very surprising hit of the summer in Israel, the Hamas song that was recorded in bad Hebrew saying, "Come and destroy the Zionist." It's a, well, catchy tune. War is a terrible thing, but even at the worst of times, people can deal with the terrors through humor. Here are a few Israeli soldiers and a tank doing their version of Pharrell's Happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because
Okay, let's wrap this show up with a video completely unrelated to the war in Gaza, where Breaking Bad's Walter White character is launched into space. Yes, it's as weird as it sounds. Videos unrelated to the war in Gaza, how we miss you. And that's it for this show. Thank you very much for watching. Please log on to our Twitter and our Tumblr. It's thetube24. We'll be here tomorrow. And always remember, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Goodbye.